So we have Aditya again, probably with our next keynote session, probably a lab session on Selenium 4 observability for 90 minutes hands-on lab. So Aditya, over to you.
Thank you so much. I'll share the screen. I have to yet get out of that codeless discussion and get into my session now. Allow me. Okay. So I'll get into basically sharing my screen if you are, yeah, allowing me. Okay, great. All right. So here we go. This is where my session starts. All right. So I'm going to basically talk about, and we will, this is a lab, by the way. It's a 90-minute lab. So my request would be to request you to do it with me. It's all about Selenium 4.0 grid observability lab. Okay. And this is me. You can follow me on Twitter and LinkedIn. Okay. And what will be covered in my session in 90 minutes, I'll try to do. First of all, it's a challenge, okay, to really time it out. I really don't know whether these 90 minutes would be sufficient or more. We'll give it a shot with you guys. I really want that you participate with me in this lab. It's something that I have never attempted of creating and delivering a lab with 200 people. We'll find out how many people are able to do it with me. So the agenda is like this. Selenium grid and importance of traceability in distributed architecture. What exactly is observability components in Selenium for installing a tool called Corsair? We will do something on GCP, Google Cloud Platform. We will install a Docker VM there. We would open the necessary ports so that we can install something which is called as Jagger. And then we will set up traceability Selenium 4 grid. We will execute some test and observe the trace. Okay, this is what is the intent. Okay. And question to you guys. Okay, can you basically help me come on Slido once again? This is my personal Slido here. Just join there and answer yes or no. How many of you have worked on Java and Selenium before? Are you joining, guys? Yeah. Let's keep on answering yes or no. Let's see. I should have put that as basically like a word art, wordplay. Okay. Yeah. I see a lot of yeses and a lot of nos as well. Okay, 28 of you have answered that. $36 now. Okay, let me move ahead. My intent, you will get to know soon. Okay. How many of you have worked on Selenium Grid before? Okay, that gives me a cross section of the audience right now. We see a lot of people who at least are aware and have worked on Selenium and Java. Selenium Grid is where basically certain issues and certain, maybe not issues, I would say you have not got a chance rather. Okay, and let me move on to the next set of questions. I got a cross section. Thank you so much for participating in this. More questions for you guys. Okay. And at this moment, I would basically also see the attendee here. Question here is, how many of you would be participating in this lab with me? Can you unmute yourself and basically say yes or no? Because that would be easier for me to do.
Yes, Aditya.
Yes. Yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
Yes,
And
Aditya.
okay, so if you are participating
Yes.
in this lab with
Yes.
me, have you got your laptops ready?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, my
Yes.
request would be to get it on, keep it on, make sure that you have it in a ready condition because we'll jump into action very soon and then we will not get time. Okay. Another question is, do you have following installed JDK 1.8 and Maven?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. So guys, we would be requiring JDK and Maven. If you haven't, I have shared a lab guide. Make sure that you can quickly get it installed. We'll take another 10 minutes, 15 minutes to get the concepts out before we jump into the action where the Maven would be needed or Java would be needed. Okay. And another thing that we would be requiring is PowerShell. How many of you have basically uh, worked or you have installed PowerShell? What is PowerShell is on Windows, a tool like this. Okay, this is like a command prompt, but a powerful one. Can you check if you have not installed? I would request you to basically go on this link. Okay, this is the link that we are talking about. I'm going to share it on the chat. How many of you who are going to participate with me don't have PowerShell installed?
Don't have it installed.
Can you try installing it? Okay, so
Yeah.
can you all?
It's a
Okay, I'll just share it. Yeah, this is the chat I have shared. Okay, and I'll show you how to do that. Okay. All right, let me also go here and I'll show you basically.
On Windows?
Yeah, if you're on Windows, you can just directly, depending upon whether it is a 32-bit machine or 64-bit machine, you can download the MSI file and run it from
You should
there.
have it directly, Adi. It should be a part of your Windows by default.
If it is Windows 10, I think it should be there. According to me, it should be
you
there.
just type PowerShell on the search. It should take you there.
I think
See
so.
Windows PowerShell.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's what it
As
should be.
easy as
It
that.
came installed. Yeah, I just was worried that if there's an older
It's-
version.
No,
Yeah.
no. If you're on Windows 10, you should have it by default.
Absolutely, yes. If it's Windows 10, it should be there. You're right. So just check whether you have Windows PowerShell there or not there. If
It's
not,
already
then there
there.
is. Okay, good. Everybody is all set. All right, so let's come back here. And we would require a GCP account, Google Cloud Platform account. So if you don't have, we will basically ask you to quickly create one. It doesn't take too much time for you to set up a Google Cloud account. So how many of you don't have a Google Cloud Platform account right now?
I don't have. Then
Cloud.
I will.
Okay, can you give it a try? So if you already have basically your email account, then it will ask you to sign up immediately. If you have signed into your Gmail, then it will not take too much time for you to do that. Okay. And initially, if you're doing it for the first time, you'll get the free tier, which will be sufficient for you to do things today. And I'll tell you the calculations on the cost part as well. If you have a paid account, then also it's not going to cost us more than 10 rupees or 20 rupees max for today's session. Okay. So with those, can I basically continue next? I hope that this is where
Sir,
you
currently
guys are
I'm on
ready.
office laptop, so I'm not be able to open Gmail or any Google Cloud account. So can I do this activity later on my personal laptop?
Yes, yes. So request everybody to participate with me as much as possible. Otherwise, keep on observing what we are doing. And this is getting video recorded. We will hopefully be able to give it to you soon. So don't get worried. Okay, we have done basically asked you to do Java check, Maven check, or we will just do it. Okay, so if you open a command prompt, just say Java -- version once. Can you all do it who are doing it with me on a laptop? Sorry, it is one version, single dash Java space dash version. This is actually showing a JRE, not a JDK. And then if you just give a command Java C, can you try writing or typing Java C? If it comes with an unrecognized one, that means your JDK is not installed. If your Java C is working, at least JDK is installed. That is the quickest check that I could do. Can you all do that as well? Yeah. Should I move ahead? Yes, no.
Do we have to add the payment method in GCP account?
Yeah, go ahead and add that. It might help. They will not charge you. but they will not stop you from doing things there. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah. So should I move ahead, guys? I just wanted to tell that we are doing this small check. If your Java C and Java version is there, you can actually just do Maven version as well, MVN minus version, and see if the Maven is also installed. When you do basically Maven, it actually comes up with the JDK version as well. It actually tells you where basically the JDK is installed. Okay. That will give you a complete information on the OS platform and the JDK and everything else also. So this Maven would be required only at the fag end. Even if you don't have Maven, I think it should be okay for now. You can still set up the entire observability grid without having Maven there. Okay, so as long as you have Java and JDK there, I think we should be very comfortable in getting to almost 80% of the lab. Okay, so even if you don't have Maven installed, don't get too much worried. You can get it done later. I'll be sharing the code base and I'll be sharing a Git repository also, which would help you do that. Okay. Okay, we'll go next now, and shout out guys if you need any help and any time. This is a two-way lab. Normally the interactive sessions we say that ask questions at the end, but no. In this case, I would allow and I would request you rather to don't ask questions at the end. You need to ask now. As soon as you get some question which I am telling about or I am asking, unmute yourself and participate. Okay, can I request that please? That you would feel free to talk to me. It's a very difficult exercise to be behind the screen and not knowing how you guys are doing. Delivering a lab is a tough task. So help me out by asking questions. Otherwise, I really don't know how you are doing. Okay. All right. And this was the lab guide. So if you get stuck, the way that you can install JDK and you can install basically Maven is all given there. Okay. Let me also post it in the chat. Okay. I'm assuming that some of you are doing with me. So if you are doing with me, make sure that you respond back to my queries as well. When I say, how are you doing? Can I move ahead? It would help me basically continue in the right mold. Okay. Are you guys with me?
Yes,
Yeah,
Adi.
thanks.
Yes.
Okay, great.
Yes.
It feels connected. I feel proud that you guys are doing it with me. Thank you so much. All right, so let's understand the concept here. Okay, so what we are achieving is something amazing. It's a real cutting edge that we are delivering here. First of all, it is Selenium Grid, that is also Grid 4.0. And then we are understanding what is traceability and observability first, and then we are implementing it with the given open source tools. Okay, so this is Grid 3.x structure or a diagram that you might have seen earlier. It is basically, if you look at the architecture of Grid 3.x, it was basically having hub and nodes. So you can start one hub and you can connect multiple nodes to the hub. And then you can have a client machine which can basically run code in Ruby, in JavaScript, in C#, in Python, PHP, Java, any language, and it can connect with basically the hub, and the code will get distributed across different basically these nodes which were running remotely or on VMs or anywhere. This is your Grid 3.x. And what has changed in 4.x? I would start calling it 4.x now because they've already come up with 4.1, which we are going to use. Okay. So if you look at the architecture, there are multiple nodes which are basically running your automation test in parallel. Okay. This does not change now also. Okay. This is where the grid 4, I should have done it 4.x. It is basically the architecture here. Rather than having only one hub and nodes, the entire architecture is distributed very heavily between multiple components. So you have a router, you have session queues, you have session maps, you have event bus, and you have distributor. Okay. And you have client and you have multiple nodes. Just like earlier, the nodes are still there, and you can run node which is basically running on which is having Safari, which is having IE, which is having basically Edge, Opera, or Chrome. So this is where you can run parallelism, you can have a grid running, but the grid is more complex, much more scalable, much more solid, much more, I would say, fault tolerant. When I say fault tolerant, it will allow your grid to stand up very easily what it used to do earlier. Okay, this is where the power of Selenium 4.x comes. So 4 has a big advantage because of the grid as well. Okay, the way that implementation is. Now these are all different components. These are all different servers. If you want to ask me, these are different services, not servers. And you can run it on multiple machines as well if you really want to do that, so that scalability is achieved. Now the problem is, and this is where you should appreciate. Okay, imagine that you're running your entire test. Okay, when you are running your distributed test, thousands of test cases, and you're running it across different browsers, can you think that any of these components can go down? Do you agree?
Yes.
Right? So one is that you can run it in basically an architecture like Kubernetes or Docker containers, which are fault tolerant. It would automatically come up, but it is again, we are increasing complexity at different level. But at any given point, not only these processes can go down or something can go wrong there, they can be up, but your automation can get stuck, or any of these nodes can also go down or can basically get stuck. This is where you need to understand that where things have gone wrong. Uh, which component is basically giving a problem, where things are getting stuck. How do you trace it? How do you observe it? How do you make sure that you have a problem that you can identify? Okay, this is where continuous monitoring or observability comes into play. This is where traceability comes into play. So there are three words I'm using: traceability, observability, and monitoring. Are you comfortable with these three words?
Yes,
Yes.
Aditya.
Yeah, so
Yes.
we are observing these components on real time, number one. How are we observing? Because we are capturing all the traces which are generated as logs in all these components and giving a holistic view somewhere. And monitoring is also observability in some manner, because you have some monitors which are basically capturing the data, and it can be we can add few more things so that it can give you events back. It can actually tie up to your Slack, it can tie up to your WhatsApp. All those architecture can be done. I'm not going with the continuous monitoring here. I am taking you to a solution which is purely observable, which is basically having the entire traceability built into the system. You can observe, you can see how the request is flowing, which component is hitting, how much time each component is taking, how does your request move from, say, from client to the node. This is what we will do today, right? Are you ready to basically go to this kind of a complex system today with me?
Yes.
We
Yes.
all set.
Yes.
Great. I am excited as well. And Selenium and Grid 4 is very special. First of all, it is designed to work with modern infrastructures like Docker and Kubernetes. And second important concept which is there in Selenium 4.0 is that the entire code, entire jar files or entire libraries that the team has built is instrumented with something called as open telemetry. Okay, when we say open telemetry, it's basically like a software which is basically an open source telemetry package or a framework, you can say, which basically, or set of APIs and SDKs, which can allow you to track or basically trap these traces and metrics and logs. Okay, so what happens is that this telemetry data, when we say telemetry data, this is your real time data, your real time log files, your real time traces, the metrics, the logs, all of that can be captured. Okay, so open telemetry allows basically, and there is a direct, when I say the Selenium 4 code, Selenium 4 code has a direct connection, okay, which means that it is inbuilt with this open telemetry, and it allows you to basically populate backends such as basically Jagger or Prometheus. So what we will do today is basically run our Selenium 4 with instrumentation used, which is already there in the code, called as open telemetry. And at the back end, rather than Prometheus, we'll be using Jagger. So we will be running our code, connecting open telemetry to Jagger and sending all the data to Jagger. That's what the intent would be today. Okay, so this is where we say what is telemetry data. It is traces, metrics, and logs. And second thing is that you have these backend data management or analysis tools, which basically connect with open telemetry, and we can observe and we can basically do the real traceability or observability right in those tools. This is what we will do today. Okay, so entire request, when we say Selenium 4 grid is fully observable, It helps us troubleshoot issues, optimize performance, and provide visibility into the system. So any of these components, it is visible where things are, how your request is going. And that is what is observability all about. And we will see it today. We will do it today. Okay. So in setting up Selenium for observability components, number one we'll be using is Open Telemetry, which is included in Selenium 4 jar files itself. And this would help us trace the entire request. We can actually say that the trace contents is basically all spans, any log, any time interval, anytime any log comes, that is called as events. We will consolidate all of this and send it to something which is called as Jagger. The second player in the component that we will be using and setting up today is called as Jagger, which is basically, obviously, why do we need a visualization tool? Because analyzing a console log is very tedious. First of all, it keeps on running. We don't have a history or to it. We can't compare with what happened now versus what was happening 10 minutes back or maybe half an hour back. We need a visualization. We can look at the request. We can look at the responses. We can look at the entire workflow. All of those traces can be queried. We can jump one step into the other and we can see where things are going wrong. So this is what we'll be using, guys. OK, now let's basically get into some action. First thing is that I would request you to download Selenium jar file. OK, so you go, if you already have, that's fine. Otherwise, just say Selenium jar 4.4 jar. OK, and then you will get basically a link called download Selenium. OK, I'm going to share this. OK, can you all download the latest stable version, which is 4.1.0? It is working for me. I tried this morning just for this session. I tried everything with 4.1.0 and everything ran like a smooth cake. OK, so can you all install it? Sorry, download it. It's a jar file. So when you click on this, it downloads. I'll also do the download along with you guys. OK, so when you download, it will basically come in your download folder. I really don't know whether it has come or not. OK, it has come. I'll cut it out. And can you go to your D drive or C drive, which has got enough memory, and create a project, call that as ATAGTR2021 Selenium 4. I am adding zeros in front of it because I want it to be on top of my folder. Paste this jar file there. I don't know why it's taking so much time. Are you able to download, guys?
Yes.
Yes.
OK. All right, this is the jar file. I would rename because I had already downloaded it this morning. Just keep it very simple. Selenium -server 4-.1.0. This is the natural name that it came with. OK. Are you guys with me?
Yes.
OK.
Yeah.
Now just go to the top and say CMD. Open a command prompt. It will open in the same directory. If you do a directory here, you will see that there is a Selenium jar file right there. OK. Good. I hope that this is all done by you guys. OK.
Yes.
And I'm going to run a command which is basically inbuilt into it. And I'm going to share that shortly with you. OK. So if you look at it, this is the command, and let me share this also on the chat file here. Can you try running this command? In the folder where the jar file is. OK. Okay, all of you are able to do this?
Yes.
Yeah. Should I go ahead?
Yes.
Okay, so incidentally, if you look at it, it is basically a simple Java command, and we are saying info tracing. So we're asking Selenium, can you please let us know how can we build, or we can basically run traceability with the jar file that you have, and it tells you what is tracing, what is the command to be used. Okay, and incidentally, if you look at the command, it has something which is called as Corsair. And it says that Corsair is to generate a full class path. Okay, it is basically like an extendable Maven, you can say. This is something which you will have to install. I'll tell you how to do that. And then it also tells you how do you basically run Jagger. We'll be running Jagger as a Docker container. And then it also tells you what exactly is open telemetry and all those things. So most of the information that I have captured is basically through this command, and there are other blogs and other links that I will be sharing later. Okay. So if you look at it, number one, we ran this. Second, what we will do is we'll be installing Corsair, okay, which is used for updating the class path. Third thing that we will be doing is running Jagger, which is basically the backend system or the framework, which will collect all these data from Selenium, okay, which will be running in a Docker image. Okay, this we did. Second thing that we would ask you to do is basically install Corsair. Okay, I am going to share this link. Okay, sorry, the installation is this one. Let me go on the browser first. Okay, and I'm going to share this in the chat. Can you all go to this particular link, get-corsair.io docs installation? And depending upon which platform you are on, basically it has, for Windows, it says run this command, bits admin, copy this please. Okay. And come to your command prompt. I had already installed, but let me see if it allows me to run it again. Okay, can you do this, please? It shows 10 hours, but I don't think it will take that much time. So let it run for some time. Okay, in the background. Okay, so don't worry. Okay, let us, if you have done this, let it be there. Okay. Maybe we are all trying to hit at the same time. Normally it doesn't take that much. So we'll finish 3 conferences in 3 days. Let's see how much time is it showing for you guys?
It's 14 hours for me.
Okay, good speed for you. Okay,
3
don't worry.
days.
It will, yeah,
1 day.
don't worry. I think it will be faster than that. Okay, so let's continue with our other part. Okay, so while this is going on, okay, let's basically go to the next section. Okay, we'll come back here. We will now run to the third part, which is running Jagger. Okay, we can basically run it with this command. How many of you have Docker enabled on your machine? If you have Docker enabled, it is simple. Those of you who don't have Docker, will go through the GCP route. I'll use GCP myself. Okay, and we'll talk about what is Jagger. We'll see what it is and how do we connect with it shortly. Okay, so those of you who have Docker installed, you can directly run this command. Let me share this command as well. Okay, but hang on to it for now. I would request you to just hold on. Okay, because we will first try to get our GCP done. Okay, so my request would be to, if you still want to do it the way that I'm doing, you can do it. Okay, so we will go to your GCP console now. Can you all open console.cloud.google.com, please?
Aditya, for
course here, it is saying something. The requested action is not allowed in the current job state, and the job is read only. The job may have been cancelled.
So are you on your own laptop or company's laptop?
Company's laptop.
So are you on a VPN or open network?
Open.
So open should have worked. Maybe the transferring and all, maybe it is not allowing you to install something on your. Maybe can you, do you have admin rights? Can you try running it in an admin mode and see if it does?
Okay. Yeah, we'll do.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. So open console in the meanwhile. So we'll wait till you do it in a admin mode. Can you just shout out saying that you tried it? And I'll give a minute for you to catch up. For others, can you just open console.cloud.google.com, please? So this is the URL. Okay. So I'm going to use my okay. All right. Yeah. Should we move ahead on Google, please?
Yes, it is showing some hours to be remaining. So
yeah, let it be. I don't know whether we'll be successfully be able to finish it off. In the meanwhile, at least you will understand what needs to be done, and I'll share the entire code base also, so we can proceed. Is that okay?
Yeah.
All right, good. So open console.cloud.google.com. Your screen may look little different. Don't get worried. Once you see something, you probably need to just click on these burger menu here on the left and go to Compute Engine VM instances.
Done.
Done? Okay, I'm going to click on VM instances as well. If it asks you to enable something, please enable, because if you're doing it for the first time, it will ask you for permissions that something needs to be enabled. Just say yes. Okay.
It's taking some time to enable.
Yeah, don't worry. I'm holding on. First of all, we are only 1/3 of the time, so we have got 2/3 of the time left of the lab. So I think we are going good. We can take it easily. How many of you are still with me? I really don't know whether you are participating in this lab or not. But I hope that if you're doing it, you're following it, right?
Hey, Adi, Kshitij here. I'm using the Docker version. So the steps that you mentioned for Docker is straightforward, right?
Yes. Just run that. You will have the Jagger running, and then we'll come back and let you know. If you already have a Docker machine enabled laptop or basically, then you don't need to worry about this step.
Sure, I think we are good, Adi. Thanks.
Okay, good. Thanks.
Yeah, VM instance is enabled now.
Okay, great. So when you have this VM instances on the top, do you see something known as create instance?
Yeah.
Okay. Can you click on create instance? Okay.
Yes.
On the left side, you see new VM instance. Second one is new VM instance from a template. Third one says new VM instance from machine image. And the fourth one says marketplace. Yeah.
Yes.
Click on marketplace. It might also ask you to enable. So if it is asking you to enable, can you please say yes and proceed till you see something like
Directly
this.
opened.
Directly open. Excellent.
Yeah.
So if it is open, search for Docker. Okay. And hit enter. So we are searching for Docker and hitting enter. Okay.
Yeah.
So the sorry, somebody needs any help? Okay. So here you see the second option which says Docker Engine Community on Ubuntu 18.04 LTS, right?
Yes.
Okay, click on this one. Okay. It gives the entire overview, but at the same time it says launch. I have 2 installations running, so it will let me know if I click on that, but we need to just say launch. Can you all click on launch? Yeah, I'm clicking now.
Yeah.
Okay, once you click on launch, it will give different names. So it says Docker Ubuntu. For you, it may be 1. Since I'm running 2 instances, it is showing me Docker Ubuntu 3. And then don't select Asia because it is probably little more costlier than what you can select on. Just select US East, any of these. Click US East
For me,
1
it's
B.
asking. For me, it's showing required APIs and it's asking me to enable.
Please enable. Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, please enable.
Yes, it's enabled now. Could you please repeat the steps that you have just? Yeah.
Yes. So if you go back again, let me just show you. Go to Compute Engine VM instances. On VM instances, say create instance. On create instance, go and click marketplace. Yeah. Are you with me?
Yes, it's done. Docker engine is also searched, and then I'm on the page new Docker engine community on the Ubuntu.
Correct. So we will search on Docker, and then we will basically click on Docker Community Engine, and then we will say launch. Okay. There you go. And when you launch, you probably need to select somewhere on the top, which is US East 1B, 1C. Any of these is fine. Okay. On the right, it says cost. Even if you take this cost, it is peanuts. Actually, it is not too much. Let me tell you, if we run this lab for 2 hours. Okay, so if I just say calc, and if we have basically, it is saying it is per month. Okay, that let's say if it is 30 days multiplied by 24 hours, it is 720 hours. And our cost is basically what? If we say this is the cost per month divided by 720, it's going to cost us 3.6 INR per hour. So if you are running this lab with me, and even if you keep it running for 2-3 hours, I think it is just less than a cutting chai that you can buy. Okay, so don't get worried on the cost if it is charging you. Let's move ahead. I just wanted to show you that these platforms like Amazon, Azure, or GCP are really cool. We all should start using it and get comfortable with it. Okay, so if you look at it, it says
It's showing me in the USD amount. How can I change it?
It should be okay. So as long as you are on some tier, the amount is directly convertible there. So maybe your You probably have not enabled or given an Indian card or something. So don't worry. Even if it is USD, it would be how many USD we're talking about? What is the amount it is showing you?
It's showing me 34.67 per month.
34.7. It is. Did you select US East or it is showing Southeast?
It's currently selected as US East 1 dash B.
Okay, so approximately it is, even if it, yeah, it is this much. Yeah, if you look at, was it showing this bottom cost or the top cost as $30?
Sub
Anyways, it does
top
not.
cost.
Yeah, so it is approximately same. If you look at it, 3 into 7, approximately same amount. So don't get worried there. You can proceed with that. Okay. So you can have the name, you can have this one. Nothing else needs to be changed. Keep it as it is. Okay. And at the bottom, you will see I accept the GCP marketplace terms of service and cloud infrastructure service terms of service. Okay. Don't get worried. They're not asking you to do anything there, not major. And if you are here, then just say deploy. Can you all try deploying it? I'm hitting deploy now. Okay. Sometimes it fails, but most of the time it runs.
Yeah, deployment is done from my side.
Okay. Yeah, mine is also deployed. So we'll just give it one more minute and hopefully if others are doing it as well, their deployment would have happened too. Okay. So do you see an SSH link here on the right once it is deployed?
Yes.
Okay. And there is also a documentation which says set up Docker on GCP. Okay. So first, can you click on set up Docker on GCP? And it says for checking your Docker engine, just copy this command sudo docker run hello world. Just highlight it, say copy, come back to your deployment and click on SSH here. OK. When you click on SSH, the SSH window opens up. OK. Does it show something like this?
Yes.
And on the right hand top side, you see this setting button. So if you look at copy settings, if you want to interact on this terminal, then it says copy on select and copy paste is done using Control Shift V or copying is Control Shift C. OK. So if I have copied from here and if I go to my window there and if I say Control Shift V, let me click here first, Control Shift V, it will paste it there. So this is how you can do cut paste or copy paste from this terminal and move somewhere else as well. So paste this sudo docker space run hello world and hit enter. Okay, done.
Yes.
Yeah. So
Yes.
this was basically the fastest way that I could actually give you a machine running Docker container or basically running any machine which is having Docker installed on it. OK, because we are not going through the drill of downloading a big package. It is a ready to use virtual machine, which is basically Ubuntu machine. And we are directly able to run Docker commands on that. OK, this is the fastest and the easiest way where we can run Docker commands. OK, now we can actually go to the command that I showed earlier, which was basically running the Jagger command. Okay, I'm going to copy this and come to this terminal. Okay, let me first. Okay, and I'm going to also give you this command. Let me first give it to you as well. So the command actually, if you look at it, it is saying Docker run. We are giving this container basically name as Jagger. We are opening two ports. -p stands for the port. We are opening 16686 port, and which is exposed on this machine. And we're also exposing 14250 port. This is the Docker image that we are using, Jagger tracing all in one. And we are using the latest image from the Docker Hub. OK, this is the meaning of this command. I'm going to paste it in our chat once again. And I'm going to run this command as well here by doing Control-Shift-V and hitting enter. OK, we need to run it by adding sudo before it. Just type sudo in front of it. OK. So we were able to successfully do it. Let me just copy this again and paste it here. This time it is with the sudo command. OK. Are you guys with me?
Yes.
So far, so good. We are
Yes.
around 45 minutes into the lab.
Yes.
And we have successfully basically run the Docker command, which is basically running the Jagger now, which is the backend. But how do we access the UI for Jagger? So we have opened these ports, but these have to be enabled on the VM as well. So we will basically enable these two ports. OK, which are these two ports? Copy it. And yeah, they're already there. So we can just say that we will open up two ports on the VM, 16686 and 14250. These are basically to be opened up on the Linux machine, which we just created on GCP. OK. Sorry. And I'm worried about our codes here now. Let's see. Maybe it was not ready to handle so many people downloading at the same time. So can you go back to your Google Cloud Platform? Click on these three links again. Go to Compute Engine and click on VM instances once again, please. Yeah, are you with me? Yes.
Yes, yes.
OK, click on VM instances. You will see one of these. So I was running in the morning. This is the third one, Docker Ubuntu 3 VM. We created on US East 1D for me. And it has basically, this is the external IP 104.1.0.9.6, something like this. Just copy this to the clipboard. OK, you can also do SSH from here directly. So for now, we are not doing anything there. We just copied it and keep it handy here. OK. One. And secondly, type firewall. Yeah, just type firewall on the top and you will see firewall VPC network. Do you see that?
Yes.
OK, click on firewall.
No, I don't see it.
OK, just type complete firewall. You will see.
Okay.
Got it?
Got it.
Yeah, just click on firewall. OK. And on the top, you see create firewall rule, refresh. I did create in the morning, but we will again try to create a new rule so that you can open up your ports. OK. So if you are on this page, how did we come to this page? We typed firewall on the search bar on the GCP, and there I clicked on firewall VPC network. Let me do it once again for those who are little behind. Then if you are with me, just say create firewall rule. Are you guys with me?
Yes.
Yes.
So click on firewall rule, create a, okay. So how did I come here? I just clicked on create firewall rule. Just say ATAGTR2021 firewall rule. Any name is fine. We are going to open up. Okay, it says lowercase. You just can't have caps lock there. Okay, GTR 2021 firewall rules FR. Okay. Description, we are opening up ports. Which ports are we opening? We're opening up two ports, 16686 and 14250. Okay. These are the two. By the way, this is just description. This is going to help us remember things out. Okay. All right. So if you have done that, if you go down, okay, so you will see something like targets here. Do you see these targets? So it is asking us on which machine or which targeted machine you want to apply this rule. So you can have different ones, or you can say all instances in the network. So we, rather than looking at the machine that we have, we are basically saying open these ports on every instance in the network. Okay. Have you selected this? All instances in the network?
Yes.
Okay.
Aditya, sorry, could you
Yeah.
please repeat this process again, creating a firewall rule?
Yes. Okay. So have you come on this window, which is firewall, or do I need to show you that?
I'm on this create new firewall window.
Okay.
Sorry,
Just
create
click on
firewall
that.
rule here.
Yeah. Here, just give it any name. Any name is fine. GTR 2021, whatever you want to. Description is we wanted to open basically two ports. Okay. Which ports? Why are we opening it? Because ultimately the Jagger machine that we have created is going to work on these ports, and we want an external access. When we say external access on the internet, from our local machine, we need to access basically these ports. That's why we need to open up these ports. Normally the VMs or the virtual machines that are being created on GCP or any on the cloud don't have any of these ports opened up because of security reasons. We are going to open up these ports. And then when you come down, this is where we were. Okay, just click on targets and you have different options. On the first, you will say all instances in the network. Can you click on all instances in the network, please? Yeah.
Yeah, done.
All right.
Yes.
And then here it will basically, we will also have to give the source IP ranges. So we'll have to say 0.0.0/0. So we'll say 0.0.0.0/0. I'm going to paste it and give it to you in the chat. Okay. Have you typed? We are saying that from any IP address outside IP address, you should allow this. You can limit it to specific IP address as well for ease of sake. We are saying any IP address, we should be able to access it. Okay. And then you will see specified protocols and ports. Click on TCP. And the two ports that we have, 16686 and just say comma and 14250. So the two ports that we are actually doing are 16686, 14250. Can you do this, please?
Done.
Done. And just say create. Okay. once you create it, it will basically take some time and the ports will be opened up. Okay, it is opened up now, ATAGTR, this one, and applies to all the targets, and it says which ports are opened up. This is done. Okay, all of you see this?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, now did you note the IP address of your machine? If not, you go here again, go to Compute Engine, click on Virtual Machines, okay? Which is basically Compute Engine. Click on Virtual Machines. And you will see an IP, external IP. Copy this IP. And this time make sure that you copy it somewhere, okay? And since we have opened up this port, just say colon and the port number. All right. Are you guys with me?
Yes.
Yes.
Now open a new browser window and just type it there.
I see Jigger UI coming up.
Absolutely, yes. So what we have done is the first part of the lab successfully done. I would like to applaud you that you were able to do it with me. We were able to create a GCP virtual machine with Docker on it. We were able to install Jagger on it. And then we were able to open up 2 ports. One of them is 16686. Okay, this is done. Okay, so far so good. We've got half an hour left. Let us basically proceed. Is that okay with all?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, let's come back. If you are here, all of you who have already got the Docker running, make sure that you can go to port number 16686 and you should be able to see something like this. Okay, so you should have basically whatever the IP address is, colon 16686 and the Jagger UI comes up. If the Jagger UI is coming up, then your first part of the setup is done. Okay. All right. So we will go to the second part of the setup, which is all about running Selenium grid with open telemetry. And we'll be running our Selenium grid with basically a distributed mode. So we'll be creating all these components and we'll be creating open telemetry on that. Okay. So for doing this, let me give you my, rather than typing these commands, can you go to this link? I'll just share this link with you. This is my Git repo. The entire code is there. All the commands that we're using is also there. Okay, can you open it in a browser? Yes. Are you able to see this?
Yes.
Okay. Now, if you click on download, you will see a zip file there. Yeah. Download zip file. Okay, it's simple. Just click on this arrow and then click on zip. Yeah. Are you able to download?
Yes, Aditya.
Okay.
Yes.
So once it downloads, yeah.
Aditya, unfortunately, my session is not working.
Which session?
The session that we created, the virtual machine session that we created. I pasted the IP and the IP port that we enabled. So it's saying me that the page isn't working and the IP address.
So did you open the firewall? Did you make sure that you also followed the firewall step with us?
Yes, I actually opened the firewall
Yeah.
and it is running.
Okay, if it is running, just click on that once.
Just a minute. Let me go in a VPC network again.
Yeah, just click on firewall.
Yes, I clicked on it.
And then whatever firewall rule that you created, I created ATAGTR 2021 FR. So click on that. Okay.
Yeah, I clicked on it. Yes.
Check if the IP range is mentioned as this one 0.0.0/0
0.0.0/0. Yes, it is.
And the protocols and ports mentioned are 16686 and 14250. Do you see this?
Absolutely. Yes, these are the same.
All right. So if this is there, then maybe the IP address that you have applied it for all the networks, right? So do you see your machine name here? Do you see the like, for example, my machine is Ubuntu 3 VM. Do you see your machine name here?
Yes, absolutely. It is there.
Okay, click on that.
Okay.
Okay.
Yes, it's loading. Yes, I got to see details.
It does it basically show running?
Yes, the status shows running.
And do you see an external IP which is there?
Let me check. Yes, I got to see external IP, but this is something different.
So there are two IPs. Okay, don't get confused with internal IP. This is the one that we need to do. If you are using some different one, use this external IP, not the primary internal IP. Use this IP. Okay.
Maybe let me try.
And then you go to your Jagger stuff and then copy that and try to see if it runs. Okay.
Yes, absolutely. It is running now.
Yeah. So maybe you copied the internal IP. That's what we checked. Okay.
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. Thanks a lot. Yeah.
Most welcome. Most welcome. All right. So what I told you is next step is to download. Are you with me? Did you get this link on the GitLab link?
Yes, I downloaded this zip as well.
Okay, downloaded the zip. Very nice. So once you have downloaded this, copy it in the folder where the jar file is. Okay. Done. Once copied it there, you can say extract here. Done.
Yes.
Okay. Once you have done it, just go inside and you will see all these. There is a text file called Windows commands for running grid in distributed mode. Can you open that? Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. Go a little down and you will see basically the points where the PowerShell and all these things are there, and then there are grid commands. Okay. Yes.
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 Okay. And just make sure that you go to a section where your jar file is and copy this. Is it in D drive or C drive where you have copied your jar file?
Mine is in C drive.
Okay. So if it is
Same
in
here.
C drive, yeah. So make sure that you have a command called cd and the path in quotes. So make sure that you write it down, cd, this path. Okay. Sounds good. So instead of this cd, I am trying to ask you or requesting you to make sure that you can create or write something like this cd space and then the entire path of your directory. So we're going to go inside this directory and run our commands. Okay. Right. Copied. Now open PowerShell. And since I'm in D drive, I'm typing D drive first. If you are already in C, don't do D drive. OK. And then change the directory to the directory where the jar file is. So I'm doing cd and I'm going to the directory where the jar file is. If I say directory here, I will see this jar file. Can you do this, please?
Yes.
Okay, so now this is where I would have to see how your, so if this is not done yet, I don't think you will be able to run the command. So at this moment, we will basically, I will show you next, and whenever it runs, you have the commands to do it. Okay, since it will require Coursera, so we will basically ask you to hold on for now and go into an observation mode. Is that okay? Can you see what I'm doing? And all the commands are with you as well. This is surprisingly taken more time because I think most of us try to do it at the same time. It's a failure point for us, but I have it installed. So look at what I'm doing now. Is that okay? Can you just observe what I'm doing?
Sure. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. So since this command is being run on PowerShell and it is running CS, which is basically this course here. Okay. That's what it is. Okay. So I will basically start opening and we will first run event bus. So, and also the IP address needs to be changed. Okay. So before I run it, I need to basically change the IP address in these commands. So I will just say control, edit, replace, and 1 second. This is the IP address that is there. Okay, let me just highlight this and say edit, replace, and replace it with the IP address which we have created today. Idea is what? From our machine, we are going to connect. I'll just explain you the command as well. Okay. Okay. So if you look at it, we are running Java. This is -d is the open telemetry traces exporter. We are giving it a name Jagger, and we are saying that where the Jagger is running on this IP address. So those of you who are running Docker on your own machine, replace this IP address with localhost. And we are saying send the data on port 14250. Remember on our GCP, we opened up this port as well. One was, look, we opened up these two ports, 16686. Another port that we opened up is 14250. So we're asking Selenium that please, when you start any of these commands or any of these services, make sure that you can actually go to the Jagger, submit these traces there, and then run the things. Okay. So I'm going to run one by one. Okay. And this requires course here. Okay. So here in this case, I will say start. I will need 6 windows and I will run command one by one. Okay. This is the first command. I'm running event bus. Just to revise what we are doing, we are basically creating all these things. We are creating an event bus. We will be creating a session map, session queue, distributor, router, and nodes 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, one by one. And then we'll be running the client code. Okay, that's what the intent is. Sounds good? Are you guys with me so far? Since the CS is not there, you are in observation mode at this point, but the commands are here. I think you should be able to do it one after the other. As at this moment, it is not going to take too much effort here on. Okay. Okay, so I'm going to start the second one. And this time I'm starting the sessions. Okay. And I'm going to basically start another PowerShell. Come to this command. I'm going to start and run session queue. This is the third component in the grid. And this has to be run in a particular order because they need one thing after the other. Okay. This is done. Then I'm going to run basically in this case, I'm running a distributor. Okay, I'm going to start my. Okay, started basically the distributor as well. Started Selenium distributor. Then I'm going to start. This is basically a router. This is the router that I'm starting. I'm starting another PowerShell here. Okay, router is also starting. Okay, started Selenium router. And the last piece that it is there is starting a node. Okay. And I'm going to start another PowerShell. I'm going to start a node. Okay. At this moment, your entire grid is up and running. Okay. So let me go to the browser. And I am running it on my local host. And by default, it runs on the same port as Selenium 3.x. It is 4 times 4. And at this moment, you see that the grid is up and running. And there are basically these many Firefox nodes or the browser that we can run in parallel. Okay. So since at this moment you're not doing with me, we will go to the next step and check how does the Jagger look like. Okay. Since we connected to the Jagger, and if I search here, and you will start seeing services here. So distributed is there, node is there, router is there, and session queue is there. All of them has been connected. If we click on system architecture and click on the diagram here or basically the graph, you will see that the entire router distributor architecture is all set up. So what we have done is we have configured our Selenium nodes, Selenium distributor router and session queue, plus basically event bus and other things as well, with externally running Jagger, which is running on a GCP virtual machine, which is actually running it in a Docker container format. Okay, this is the first part of our basically observability. If you go to Jagger UI, and if we select a service, like say Selenium distributor, and if I click on find traces, you will see that all whatever is happening now, all the logs, everything is being shown here. You can drill down to this. Okay. But this is actually half part of the fun. Okay. We will basically go to the next part and we will try to run our code as well. Okay. All this we have done. I'll share the PPT as well. Okay. And we will now run basically our code. So the code that I have shared with you, it has got this, if you look at inside here, there is a POM file. I'll just open it up. It has been enabled with the telemetry information already, except the IP address is something that we will change in the code. I'll tell you where it needs to be changed. First, the POM file, if you are familiar with Java Maven, we have told that we are using 4.1 Selenium Java code. And at the bottom, we are using all these telemetry dependencies. This is first telemetry. This is another one which is there. And these are the three important dependencies which have to be there when we run our client code. Okay. Another file which is there, there are only 2 or 3 files here, nothing more. Inside test Java, we will see this file. And if I say open with Atom, okay, this is the file. It has the Selenium code. Here we are connecting, if we are also setting up the property, this is basically also connecting to Jagger. And this is the IP address, which is basically the same IP address for the Jagger, the external IP address that we had. So in our case, this is the IP address. I'm going to replace this IP address and say Control S. Then we are basically creating a driver, which is basically this remote driver with these capabilities. And the test is simple. We will basically go to a website, Selenium Summit, look at all the links and then print them out. This is all what we are doing. Okay. Now, once we are done, we will basically go to the folder where the SRC file is and the POM file is there, right? And I'm going to say a simple MVN test. Okay, it failed. So, guys, let me see. It is on line number.
The link that you have given is incorrect.
Okay, let us see. It has got basically this at the end. There is, yeah, you're right. Sounds good. Yeah. Let us copy it from the Jagger itself. Okay, it is better that I copy it from here. Or no, sorry. All right, let's do it again. Yeah, it opened up the browser now. It is actually running it on the grid. So if I basically come here, you will see that the session is created. And yeah, this is how it is running. It is run, ends, and we can now check our Jagger here and see how does the Jagger UI look. So right now, if you look at the architecture, you will see the entire flow also. You will see basically all the components that are there, including the Java client. Okay, so Selenium Java client, router, queue, node, distributor, Selenium sessions. And if I basically go to UI here, I can actually look at any of these things, which is a Java client, and find the traces. You will see the entire trace is here. Any failure point, if we can introduce, it will show as well. Okay, so if I quickly show you one thing here, if you look, there are basically right now 194 requests which have come in. Let me run the command once again. Okay, it runs. And if I come here and refresh it, you will see that this basically thing, the number of requests will increase 195, and slowly it will go up as well as the number goes up. Everything is being tracked. Okay, 334 requests have happened. Okay, because the queue and everything is running as well. And then you can compare two requests one by one simultaneously. If you look here, you can just say compare. If there is a failure request, it will show you failure. All those things will come, guys. Okay. So I don't know how much time I have. I have given all these things, and you can fail one node and do it. This is how it does. Okay. So at this moment, we are done. I don't know. Am I on time or I am before time? I really don't know, guys. How am I doing?
You still have 10-11 minutes, Adi.
Okay, great. So I can ask questions here. We can actually have people ask me questions if they want, or I can show you a few more things if you want. Let me know how is it looking like, guys.
Can I ask one question?
Yes,
I'm not able to
please.
chat actually, so I'm
Yeah, no, you should. We want people to talk. Yeah, go ahead.
Maybe you have explained this in the beginning and I joined a bit late. So what exactly is the use of this? So how can I tell my clients that, okay, what is the benefit that I'm giving them?
Okay, sure. That's a good question, and I'll show you once again. See, this is the grid that we have done. In fact, we have created 6 PowerShell windows, and we created a router, session queue, all these things, nodes as well, right? And the client. So there are 7 components in all. And when we are firing our test on remote browsers, normally grid is flaky in nature. Okay, it was flaky. Selenium grid 3.x was considered to be a flaky component. Things will go down. And when you're running your test, you really don't know where it failed. So what these guys have done, they have basically ensured that one, this entire architecture is much more stable and robust. Secondly, the entire code that we have done is now observable. All these requests that you talk about, router, Selenium queue, distributor, nodes, all these things is being observed or monitored. Okay, when I say monitored, this is where you have the entire picture. It tells you exactly how the architecture is. All these things that we're talking about. Okay, so it tells you. So it is like a monitoring solution. It tells you which system is down, which node is down, how the request is flowing from the client till basically the node and executing it. Okay, if you have got multiple nodes, it will show you all multiple nodes connected here. Let me do an experiment. Okay, let us show you how basically we can bring a node down. Is this running a node? Okay, this is event bus. 3, 4, 5, 6. This may be the node. This is distributor, I guess. Second created by distributor. This is session queue. This is router. Session map. Okay, this is node. Let me just kill this. Okay. And let us basically go and fire our request now. So my system basically the node is down, the test will fail. Okay, it is going to take some time. So what would happen is that at any given point when things happen, here, first of all, we will still see the same architecture. But at any given point, my request, if it starts coming, we can monitor the request and see how is it going. So it is basically 4 minutes ago, this particular request has not yet come. It is still basically trying to find out. Okay, let's hold on. And then we can compare it and see how the error is. So once we can know which node is down, we can bring it up and we can look at why did the node go down. So if you look at this diagram, the whole idea is that when you have got a distributed architecture and you have got so many moving components, you want to make sure that they're up and running. Yes or no? Yeah. So you need to tell your client that to make sure that if you're running a distributed kind of an architecture, and if you want to make sure that it is up and running, you need to implement something which is called as observability or traceability into it. And for implementing such a traceability and observability, you don't need to do too many things. The instrumentation has already been done, and we are just trying to capture this data and bring it in Jagger. Okay. If it fails, it will take some time because the maximum fail out time would be higher, and then we can trace it up. Okay, it's still 5 minutes ago. So this is when it basically has the request, then it fails. You can also have some inbuilt event management so that when it fails, you will get notified. You can actually do some scripting on Jagger. So if any of the component goes down, not only it is being visually represented that it is going down, but at the same time, you can actually get notified on email, on WhatsApp and different chats as well. Yeah. Let us see if it shows up or not. Okay. By the way, did I answer your question?
Yes, thank you. That makes sense.
Aditya, there is a question in the chat as well. Maybe if the person wants, he can unmute. Mahesh has dropped a question.
Okay, go ahead, Mahesh. You can speak up. I am not able to see the chat because of so many windows that I've opened up.
Maybe I can read it for you.
Yeah, please go ahead.
So Mahesh is asking that can we integrate this directly with other APM like Datadog instead of building it from the scratch?
See, Datadog is also basically a monitoring solution. So, and I think it has an open telemetry interface as well. So since it has an open telemetry, you can directly connect your Selenium open telemetry with Datadog. In fact, we can try running it so that you can connect it with Jagger, you can connect it with Datadog, or you can connect it with Prometheus as well. Just that the commands to connect to open source Jagger was given. We are showing that, but I think it should be easily be able to do that. Plus, you can have a different telemetry talk to your internal Datadog telemetry as well. It should be possible. Harsh, any more questions that you see?
No, Adi, no, none as of now.
Okay, this failed. Let us quickly see how does my traces look like.
Aditya, just wanted to give you a heads up that we have 5 more minutes.
No problem. I'll just show you that if you look here, it basically shows up like this. Only the client request came in, it didn't move ahead. And it actually, if you look at it, this one did not go. This is basically, if I compare this one with this one. Yeah, look, This command failed, and this actually ran through the entire cycle. Does it make sense? Yes, no, I don't know, since we got stuck at Corsair, but if it installs, guys, I'm available. You can actually go ahead and complete your installation, which probably took little more time than what it should have. Okay, and all the code that I have shared with you, everything it is there. Okay, so this particular file has it.
Yeah.
All the command are there. You can try running them. If you have, this is where once your Corsair is running, you should be able to run this with very easy approach. There are no issues with that. Okay. Good.
Yes.
So are we good? Any more questions? Otherwise, I'm done, guys. I don't know whether I was able to do justice to the lab or not. It's tough for conducting these lab, and I'm sure that you guys got little benefited in and participating and doing something and learning from me.
Great, Aditya. Thank you so much for conducting a lab session. It was actually a wonderful learnings for everyone who were present, right? And probably everyone would get benefited once we would be sharing the recordings to them.
Yeah.
Cool. So guys, if we have any sort of questions, we guys are here to address it. Probably Aditya can help us out to address all the questions which we have. You guys can unmute yourself, or probably
yeah, you guys can actually unmute and ask anything that you have. I'm here.
Thank you, Karthik. Adi, just to add, were you supposed to run a quiz now or afterwards?
I don't think I have something right now, so we will do it post basically the last session. We will do back-to-back 2 quizzes. Okay.
Sure, sounds good.
Yeah, Milind, you want to say something?
Yes, yes. Thank you, Aditya. This was a really great session. I mean, the way you have taken the flow, the way you have explained things, the way you have even shown the troubleshooting was really amazing. I mean, it didn't feel like it was a virtual session. It was feeling like you're sitting in front of everybody and explaining step by step things. It was really great. I mean,
Thank you so
very
much, Milind. Thanks a lot for your kind words. It's a really tough exercise. I really don't know, because normally if you have 10 or 12 people, you can pinpoint them and you can look at their screen. But I don't know how many people were there in the session. Right now, I see there are 177 people as attendees. I really don't know how many people really did this. And but I'm glad that if somebody see, this entire conference is about certain takeaways. Even if I am able to share one part and you can take one part of it, I am glad that certain value has been added.
That's really very nice of you. You know, I mean, taking so much of effort in explaining things itself, and since it's a virtual event, it makes it even more difficult to pay attention to so many people. In the meantime, there are chats going on. You know, people are asking questions. You know, so your mind is diverted multiple times, but still you stayed focused on the things and you tried to explain each and everything to the people. Really like it very much.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. And it's really motivating to hear these kind words. Really appreciate it.
Yeah, thanks, Aditya.